How to write an amazing informal letter. You will love this detailed guide. And let me tell you that this topic is very important from an examination point of view. So let's start. What do you know about an informal letter? It is a written message for your friends, and let me add something. It is a kind of non-official letter that you use in communication. Plus, the tone is comparatively friendlier if you compare it with the formal letter. This takes us straight to the next topic, the format of an informal letter. We divide this topic into 5 parts. Let me break it down for you. First of all, we start with greetings. Then we have the introduction, the body paragraphs, and the conclusion. Finally, we sign off as well. Let me explain all this to you in detail. Greetings are the expressions to welcome your reader. For example, the phrases such as "Dear Alex" or "Dear Mom." A thing over here to note is that always follow the examiner's instructions. If you are asked to start with "Dear Friend," you should follow the instruction. The next thing is the introduction. Here, you will state the purpose. In simple words, the purpose is the reason for writing. Plus, you may also ask about the well-being of your reader. Moving on, we have the body. In the body, we will make 3 paragraphs, 1 paragraph for each content point. Content points are the bullet points you have in the question, as you can see in the image below. Note that you have to give relevant details for each point. With this, it is time to move on and talk about the conclusion. In the conclusion, you are going to summarize the key ideas. Plus, you may also invite your reader to write back. But, you should not introduce any new ideas in the conclusion. Finally, you are going to sign off. For that, you can use a phrase such as, "Your loving friend," and then you will write your name. For this topic in a better way. The question says, write a letter to your aunt, telling who the relative are, and when they came. Details about what you did together, what your relatives enjoyed the most and why. Start your letter with, "Dear Aunt. Here is a can health. I am writing this to you, to tell you about the recent visit of my uncle and his family from England. As you know, my uncle Adam John has been living in England for more than a decade now. Therefore, he decided to pay a visit to America, along with his wife and 2 sons. Their primary purpose was to collaborate with their relatives. As you know that, I live alone in my house, so I invited them to stay with me. For your record, let me tell you that my uncle and his family departed from England on 10th of April 2021. And they arrived after a hectic flight of 98 hours. My uncle was determined to make his trip memorable and enjoyable. Due to this, I decided to take them to one of the biggest shopping malls in America, the South Coast Plaza. This was the place where they purchased their favorite products as a memory. Moreover, I also escorted them to multiple historic places in California as well, such as the Yosemite National Park and Disneyland Park. These visits proved to be a source of leisure and information for my relatives. Apart, the thing that my uncle and his family enjoyed the most was meeting their relatives and loved ones. This is because England has a variety of marvelous tourist spots. But, what my uncle was missing over there were his relatives and close ones in America. When his family met their relatives, they were filled with joy, because they had plenty of stories to share with everyone. Finally, I would request you to visit me as well because it's been more than a year since your last visit. I am sure that your visit would be memorable, just like this recent visit of my uncle. Waiting eagerly for your response. Your loving nephew, Jimmy Chris. If I talk about this sample, the student uses a proper format. Moreover, the instructions such as, starting with "Dear Aunt," have been followed. The proper paragraphing, and the appropriate tone are also the positive aspects of this response. However, if I talk about the sentence structure, the student uses simple and compound sentences. But the use of complex and compound complex sentences is low. Plus, There are some grammar mistakes as well. You should also try to avoid generalizations in your letter. You can do so by giving relevant details, when possible. Now, here is a practice question for you. Do pause the video, and read the question. With this, it is time to move on and talk about some tips for an informal letter. First of all, try to be formal to some extent. What I mean by this is that, avoid abbreviations and slang, because Cambridge does not allow you to do so. Plus, try to follow the word limit, 200 to 300 words. Moreover, you should use transition words to create a link between your ideas. Here is a list of transition words for you. You can pause the video and take a look. But the point over here is that you can use words such as undoubtedly and absolutely to create an emphasis. With that being said, you should always formative. You should adjust your tone accordingly. Similarly, if you are asked to add your name, in the end, you should follow the instruction as well. Finally, you should always proofread your work. This will help you to prevent spelling, punctuation and grammar mistakes. Always proofread your work. This will help you to prevent spelling,